Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 key things entrepreneurs must master to build a profitable speaking business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie. Welcome to the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway, where you'll learn the keys to building a profitable speaking business from speaking industry pros. Each week, we interview a great guest who will share his or her speaking journey, identify what their keys to success have been, and highlight some critical mistakes they've made along the way that you'll want to avoid. Be sure to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, sit back, tune in, and get ready to meet this week's guest.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show. I'm your host, Brett Ridgway, and I'm excited to have as my guest today, Chris Hennessy. Chris is a full-time filmmaker, author, and speaker, and he serves on the board of directors of the California Writers Club Sacramento chapter. Chris has spoken at 3 writers' conferences in the past year, and in his PowerPoint presentation, he uses clips from his 4 award-winning films that he produced in 2020 or 2021. Chris's upcoming memoir is titled Touched by Hannah, and it's about a man with cancer, his 1-pound newborn Hannah, and their fight for life, and it's currently being proofread. Chris will show us his unique method of finding speaking gigs, how he films his talks, and how he creates and uses the resulting short promotional videos. Welcome, Chris Hennessy, to the Spotlight on Speaking show.
Oh man, I got to tell you, Brett, I am psyched to be here.
Well, I'm psyched to have you here, Chris. So let's dive right into it. So I've seen some videos of you speaking at a colleague's event before and all that stuff, but how far back do we need to go? When did you get into speaking in the first place? When did you decide, hey, this is what I like to do, what I want to do, and I have a message that should be shared with people?
I started speaking in the 1990s. In 1990, I quit my job as a sales and marketing rep because I had bought a video camera a couple years before that, became captivated with, and quit my job and became, without a class under my belt, a full-time filmmaker and got involved in my industry. And the leader of our conference, called WEVA, Wedding and Event Videographers Association, I went to the first conference and it lit a fire under my butt in the early 90s. It's like, I need to speak at this event next year. It's 2,000 filmmakers at that event. So I spoke to the leader of that group. He said, write your speech, record it on your VHS camera, and send me the VHS, which I did. And the next year, there I was at the conference doing a marketing presentation in front of 1,500 or 2,000 people. And that was the best drug I'd ever taken in my life. So I spoke at, yes, that's when I started, but I didn't really need it and use it for what I'm doing now with becoming an author until just a few years ago.
Well, we all go through various iterations of the things that we do through our life. And, when you find something fits, eventually you find a way to make it fit even better with what you're doing currently. So what your go-to topic on that first speech was like 25 years ago. So we're going back a few years, and it was about marketing. So what's your go-to topic these days, Chris?
Yeah, my go-to topic these days, I'm speaking to writers clubs and writers organizations around the state of California. And I'm mostly speaking about what I call maybe storytelling crossover, how I use film and video to bolster myself in the writing community, how I use it to market myself, get myself known, and get my writings well known. And it's a unique method, and it's been such a fun journey.
Well, you talk about storytelling, Chris. So, what makes for a good story?
You got to have passion. I think you have to have something that just captivates you, takes over your heart, something that you really have to get out of you. And you write about it. So with Touched by Hannah, which is my upcoming memoir, a man with cancer, his 1 pound newborn, and their fight to live. Yeah, you already said that. I decided I wanted to write the book, and the thing that has made me, I think, I produced 1,500 plus films for companies like Google and eBay and on and on and on. And all of that storytelling and everything I've done in filmmaking made me the storyteller I am today. However, with writing, my writing journey, the best way to become to work on your storytelling is to write your butt off, to write a lot. And in the last 5 years, I've written hundreds and hundreds. I started a newsletter a year and a half ago, dreaded it because it was another thing to do. Now it's one of the most fun things that I do. And I have people actually looking forward to getting my newsletters. And it's really a personal publication, but I called it a newsletter because that's what the agents and the publishers want to hear, newsletter. But writing meticulously and working so hard on each issue has really improved my storytelling dramatically. Same with filmmaking. I made hundreds and hundreds of films, and all of that storytelling and selling all of those jobs and being out at those jobs. And I've interviewed on camera about at more than 10,000 people. I've done the math on it. All of that enriching stuff has led to me being the storyteller that I am today.
So, I like to say, Chris, that there are three primary types of speakers. One is the local businessman who just speaks to the Rotaries and Kiwanis or whatever, share some content, hoping that eventually they'll have a need for whatever it is that he or her offers the market. The second is what I call the platform seller who delivers content but then makes a specific offer from the stage for products or services. And the third is just the keynote speaker, paid a fee for going into an organization and delivering a talk. Which of those arenas have you played in? And if more than one, which one do you like the best? And then we'll go from there.
Well, I've really played in maybe all of them. But today, my speaking for the last few years totally revolves around getting the word out there that I've got a book coming up, Touched by Hannah, and just by being proactive myself. And in the last couple of years, to all the writers organizations in California, I sent my speaking proposal for 2025 the other day to 25 organizations, and I'll get a lot of speaking gigs the next year and a half for that. And doing that and being proactive, not only did I speak at a lot of writers clubs, I spoke at 3 writers conferences in the last 14 months. And that kind of stuff, man, that builds your confidence, it builds your writers platform, and the agents love seeing that kind of stuff. And speaking about agents, my talk in 2025 that I'm just coming out with is how to captivate literary agents and publishers, because the very first writers conference I went to last month as a writer trying to sell my book, I had everything completely ready. You said my book is in proofreading right now. I was passing by somebody in the hall and I talked to her, and long story short, she said, "You know who I am? I'm such and such. I'm a literary agent, and I want to offer you representation and represent you in your book, Touched by Hannah." First agent I spoke to. So I think I've got the formula down. And any case, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm pretty pumped about it.
So, do you have a release date on this book yet, Chris?
No, the book is being proofread by a very high quality proofreader. She probably won't be completed till sometime in January. I'm working on the last piece of the puzzle, which is my book proposal, which I've never done before. It's kind of like a college project, big college project. So in really, I'm going to be active trying to touch my hand in 2025. Once those things are complete, then I'll have everything I need to say, here I am, here's sample chapters, here's my my writing proposal, my book proposal. So I'm going to be published traditionally.
So, give me again, if you would, Chris, the go-to topic that's going to be your 2025 topic, and then what will you be your call to action? What's the purpose of the talk designed to get people to do?
How to captivate literary agents and publishers is basically going to reveal some of the stories in my journey that led to where I am today. And I think I have to make it clear to my attendees, because I haven't actually written the speech yet, but I, pretty much got it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to show them all the ingredients that are needed to get to where I'm at. First of all, you have to embark on a writing journey that makes a great book. You have to have a great book, but you also have to become a speaker. You can use film and video to build your platform. We're going to talk a lot about my platform, and in my PowerPoint, I'll show I do unique social media posts. I have a big social media following, and I might during the day I might see something and go, "Wow, that's pretty cool," and I take a picture of it, and then at night I think it's something really special to write to that. Like I had one, I was walking through a downtown after a speaking gig about a year ago, and I saw a statue going like that, and the moon was right above it. And I took the picture, and then at night I thought to myself, I wrote a caption that was very well received. If a statue can reach for the stars, imagine what you can do. So I like to motivate people through the Facebook, and I show them how to make films simply. You don't have to have a professional video camera like me. You can use your iPhone 12 to make little films, like just a little simple film. One of the films I make in each of my talks is I invite a volunteer up, and I do a selfie of both of us, and I'll just ask a question. Like I did one recently at the Elk Grove Writers Club, and I said, "How long have you been going to Elk Grove Writers Club?" I said, "Tell me, if anybody was on the fence about Elk Grove Writers Club, why is the reason why they should come to this club?" And I know these people love talking, and they belong to the organization, and they take pride in the organization. So the interview goes really well. People are wowed that I do it, and then I take maybe 2 hours or an hour to edit that and send them, and their organization has a little promotional video that they can use. There's a lot of little tricks like that I reveal that are great little marketing methods and way to, just make it an enriching experience for yourself, making an enriching experience for others, bolstering your social media, your profile.
So I'm going to go back to my question, Chris, and that is, okay, you're sharing this valuable content with your audiences. Excuse me. So what what's in it for you? Why are you doing it? Just because you want to feel good, or because you want to have people come to you to consult with them on how to do those things? I mean, what's the end game for you as a speaker?
That's a good question. There's a couple different end games. Number one, the agents, the literary agents, when they see that you're actively out there speaking,
Okay.
I tell writers that if you're a writer, you should be a speaker. The literary agents are very impressed that I'm getting myself out there. I'm speaking. I'm good at it. I motivate people. I teach people. I'm not in it at all for the money right now. I'm not in it the writing for the money. I do have a dream that my book is going to be successful and I'm going to make money, good money speaking. But right now I'm making $200 a gig and it pays the expenses and stuff like that. But it is the best therapy for my soul.
Mhm.
It's like a free therapy session. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel confident. It uplifts me. It uplifts the group. And also, you know, yeah, it's just it gets your name out there. It wows agents. It's a really good confidence builder. And, maybe the money will come. I think it will. And if not, it's just such a life enriching experience. And my life right now is all about just all of the stuff I'm doing and all life enriching stuff. I started a TV show 5 years ago called YOLO Yo-Yos, a cable TV show with my daughter Hannah, because I wanted to provide an enriching experience for my kid and her friends. And we had such a great time. We did about 25 episodes, and I did all the promotion and the marketing and the editing and setting up the shoots. I didn't write for 2 years because I was so busy with that. And then I became proactive and sent it. I went to Film Freeway, where you can find all the film festivals on the planet, filmfreeway.com, and I submitted it. I didn't do a whole big program of submitting it to like 30 film festivals, but long story short, all of a sudden, one of our episodes got Best Cable TV Episode West Coast 2022. We won a couple of big awards at the Manhattan Film Festival right in the heart of New York City, where the indie writers and filmmakers are. And it just shows me, man, you never know what you can do unless you start doing it.
Well, I really love the passion you have for all the projects that you've been working on, Chris. So I do have some other ground I want to cover with you. But before we do, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Are you a business owner or entrepreneur who's had great success in the business world, and now you want to launch a speaking career to share your message with the world? If that's you, then listen up. 25-year speaking industry veteran Brett Ridgway has released his latest special report, 3 Key Things Entrepreneurs Must Master to Build a Profitable Speaking Business. To pick up your copy, go to brettridgway.com/freebie.
And we are back with the Spotlight on Speaking show with my guest, Chris Hennessy. So, Chris, you talk about some unique things that you do to get gigs, and you covered a little bit of that, I'm sure, in terms of talking about sending the proposals to agents or whatever. But do you want to elaborate on that a little bit in terms of what you would advise speakers to do to get more speaking gigs? Because obviously that's front and center of the minds of most of the speakers out there.
Yeah. So there's a book that I purchased called The Message of You. And you can mostly find it on Amazon. Like I buy used copies, really good used copies for like $5, $6, $7, $8, and I give them as a gift to my speaking gig. But The Message of You by Judy Carter, she was a big comic in the 80s and she became a speaker. And she's the only one that I know that really gives a good practical way, not boring, not corporate, not yicky, boring. Judy Carter, The Message of You, you can take all your stuff and turn it into a great message. I highly recommend that. Then what you've got to do is you just have to be a little proactive. If you want to practice speaking like I did, join the what's the name of that organization, Brett? Toastmaster.
Okay, yeah.
Toastmaster. Great way to practice your speeches. Very inexpensive. Great way to meet other people. But then, in my genre in writing, I went to California Writers Club. You just got to like think a little bit, and they have all the chapters listed. Now, it took me quite a while of investigation to find out who the right people to send your proposals to, but first you got to make up the speech. Then you got to make a writing proposal, which is something I won't discuss, but you got to make a writing proposal and then you send it to people. You have to have a really good subject line, and that's the way I got all my writing or most of my writing gigs. And then once you start talking, you get word of mouth. But the main thing you got to do if you want to be a speaker is be proactive. Like you mentioned before, um, Brett, you can speak to Rotary and all of that, and I've done that. Great practice, and they're always anxious to have speakers. Rotary, what are some of those other clubs?
Oh, Kiwanis, Optimist clubs. Uh,
Always looking for speakers, doesn't pay, but you want to practice your trade. You want to be passionate about your topic, and you want to be you have to be proactive and send those proposals and then follow up on them, and get yourself some gigs.
all right, so I'm curious, Chris. So, how do you measure whether a speech has been a successful speech or not?
My speeches.
Yeah.
Oh, well, a couple things. When people tell you and write you how much they enjoyed the speech. And I want to go into something real quick. If you give a presentation, don't expect them to write back and say, hey, man, you were great. Everybody loved you. I reach out to those people. I might reach out to the president of the club and say, please give me a testimonial on LinkedIn or something like that. And it's from the reaction of the crowd. It's from I'm interactive with the crowd. I talk to them. I make them laugh. I make them chuckle. I had my conference recently. I went to the back of the audience to press play on my video camera, and then I went backstage, and then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to do something really funny. And I went on the stage and I took the microphone from my introducer and I introduced my introducer. And I got a laugh after saying about 2 sentences. I got a huge laugh, warmed everybody up, and I think that set the tone for the speech. And you know something, Brett? I don't even remember what the question was now that you asked, but if I didn't answer it, tell me.
Well, let me think about it there, because I. So the question was, now I've got to pull this from my memory bank now. How do you measure the success of a speech was the original question?
Yeah, so by you can tell if the audience is into it. If you can make them laugh, if people come up to you afterwards and tell you, when they write back testimonials, um, and in your heart after you give a speech, if it resonated.
Mhm.
And I was a big runner in the 70s and the 80s, and now I walk. And I run on the elliptical, and you get this thing called runner's high, where those natural drugs, endorphins and stuff, just make you feel really good. So in my speeches, like I was at the Sonoma Writers Conference where I met Judy Baker, and I drove the 2 hours home from that gig, listening to music on cloud nine, runner's high, feeling good. So if the speaking is making you feel good and everybody else, then I think you're being successful.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. You know if you nailed it or not, just in your heart and how you feel about it all. Now, I was a runner too in my younger days, so I know about the runner's high thing.
It's the best feeling.
So now it's time to flip the script a little bit, Chris, and share an embarrassing moment from your speaking career where you were left a bit red-faced at the time, but a valuable lesson was learned, and it would be something that you would highly advise up-and-coming speakers not to do.
The first thing that popped in my head was a funny story back in the 90s when I gave the speeches to that video organization in Florida and in Vegas. I took my family with me, And the night before my speech, I was practicing, and Shane, who was 5 at the time, like I was studying my speech, and I turned around, and Shane, my 5-year-old, just like leaned over and threw up on Chris, who was my 6 years old. So for the rest of my studying my speech, it smelled like vomit. So maybe don't bring your kids, I don't know. But as far as embarrassing moments, embarrassing moments are the best way to get a laugh. I don't know if this would be called an embarrassing moment, but at the Elk Grove Writers Conference 14, 15 months ago, I decided to film my speech with my professional video camera, which adds a whole level of stress to the speaking gig. And then I decided, so on that day, there was like 8 speakers. I'm going to do a good thing. I'm going to film all the 8 speakers, which I did. But I realized when my speech was just about over, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I forgot to go to the back and press record for my speech. And I didn't record it. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I just, without even really realizing, I said, oh shit. And you don't do that at a speech. And then I looked at everybody and I told them what happened, and everybody laughed. So I think, when embarrassing things happen, be real. I mean, make fun of it. I think with me, I totally enjoy it. I'm totally having fun. And in a speech, you're connecting with human beings on a level that's just different. It's an honor, and I enjoy every second of it. Whether I screw up or do good, I make light of it, make people laugh, and pump them up, keep going. Here's another thing that you should know about me. I don't think I've been embarrassed about something, honestly, since about 1984. But when you're out there and when you're talking, the more you do it, the more you become confident in yourself. And if those things do happen, it's like, I tell my daughter, Hannah, I said, Dad's a dork, and Dad, and I said, and Dad is, kind of clueless but you want to be that, because being normal is boring. So don't be normal.
They'll be normal. All right. Well, I'm going to give you a couple minutes now, Chris, to tell people a bit more about what all you're doing and how they can get involved in your world, should they so choose.
Sure. Henshtick is the name of my newsletter, and I've doubled my readership in the past year being on Substack. So if you go to,
We'll make sure this appears in the show notes down below for the newsletter.
Okay.
So you just look in the show notes down below and you'll see the URL to connect and get Chris's newsletter.
Touched by Hannah is, what I'm doing. 2025 for Chris is going to be speaking, because I want to continue nurturing my soul and building my platform at the same time, my writer's platform. But 2025 for me is going to be all about selling my book. And I gotta, I've been working on this thing for more than 10 years. And I was going to make a film called Touched by Hannah. Then I decided I want to write the book because I want to get the whole story out. And, I embarked on a journey where I joined writers clubs, and I went to dozens and dozens of seminars, networked with a lot of writers, wrote hundreds, a couple thousand pages the last 7 years. And my journey now is, since 2020, when I've had all of these award-winning films, and I'm getting this, all of a sudden with Substack. The beauty of Substack and writing a newsletter is, all of a sudden, all of the writers that I know in Northern California, even some of them, the celebrity writers, are looking at my writing and going, wow, you are amazing. You are quite the writer. So I worked my butt off the last 10 years, and everything that I've done has culminated in where I'm at today. And I'm so excited because the book is done. It's in the proofreader. Now I have to sell it. Now I have to, do the proposal, query agents. I'm going to writers conferences next year, big ones, to meet with agents. I would highly suggest, if you're looking for an agent, man, the best way is always face to face. Go to a conference. I told you my story before. When you meet these people face to face, they can really see the enthusiasm and feel it versus, anything else.
Yep.
So my journey right now is the most, and my point was, in 2020, the cancer, which was diagnosed in 2009, just a couple months before Hannah was born, very premature, weighing 1 pound. I'm at stage 4 cancer right now. So everything I'm doing with stage 4 cancer. There's been several times, at least 4 or 5 or 6 in the last couple years, where I was close to death. This summer I had pleural effusion. I had 4 liters of murky, bloody looking fluid siphoned out of my lungs. But I've still had this drive inside to do this and be successful. And I think everything I've been doing in my journey has helped keep me alive, man. And I don't feel like this cancer is going to get me now. The fluid in the lungs was supposed to never stop. Being that I have cancer in my lungs, the fluid in my lungs was supposed to never stop going. In early September, we went to a surgeon, and he told me how he was going to drill a hole into my lung and place a catheter, and for the rest of my life I'd have a tube sticking out of my chest. But the fluid stopped flowing, and now that pleural fusion is gone, and look at me. I've finished my book. It's being proofread. I've got agents vying for my book. So I'm going to just continue. My journey is continuing. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. After this book is sold, after we get the right agent and the right publisher, then I'm going to finish the screenplay. And there's no doubt that we're making a Netflix movie on this. And then if God can give me the opportunity to live another 20 years, I got 20 years of projects that I can do. So,
Well, I always say, Chris, keep living till you're no longer alive. So sounds like you're on the right track.
you know what? My take on that is, I'm going to keep living the best I can right through the finish line.
There you go. All right. So any final words of wisdom for up and coming speakers, Chris Hennessy?
Hey, up and coming speakers, if you're afraid about becoming a speaker, that's like anything you do in life. Once you start doing it, you'll become comfortable. When I first started speaking, I was scared to death. Now, the only issue I have with put 100,000 people out there, and I'm going to go out there and do it. I think because of my cancer journey and my confidence level and everything else, I don't get nervous before speaking gigs. If there's 100,000 people, I'm going to just be more pumped than whether 10,000. So just get up there and do it, practice it. And the more you do it, then the more you refine your speech. And I think you'll find something. I think a lot of you will find it brings joy in your heart, and it brings just a really good sense of, it's a really enriching thing to add to your life. Yeah.
Well, without a doubt. So I want to thank you so much, Chris, for being my guest on this episode of the Spotlight on Speaking show. I wish you the greatest success with your new book. We look forward to reading it when it is available, certainly. And as always, I wish everybody out there who's listening, thank you for joining us. And may this year be Nah, this year's almost over. May 2025 be your greatest year yet. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
This has been the Spotlight on Speaking show with Brett Ridgway. Be sure to join us every week as we interview speaking industry pros and have them share their best tips for building a profitable speaking business. Until next week, thank you for tuning in, and remember to visit our website at spotlightonspeaking.com so you can enjoy even more great episodes like this one. While you're here, be sure to subscribe via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Spotlight on Speaking show. Until then, our sincere best wishes to you for the greatest of success as you work to build your own profitable speaking business.